Hi, Holger, the Frog here, introducing you to the topic of general psychology. I'll be right back in one moment. Actually, it looks like my services are not needed here today, so I'll see you later. Bye. Well, I'm sorry to say you're stuck with me, not Kermit the Frog. I'm sorry, Hermit the Frog teaching this class. But I hope the first thing that you are learning about this class is that I work pretty hard to make it entertaining and wacky, but I do also focus on the science. So in this very brief introduction to general psychology, I'm going to go over in a couple of different ways with you what the course is about and how it's organized. I'm Professor Brett Pelham, and this is my general psych class. So let's move ahead. All right, let's try. My technology has not been cooperating today, but I think I can get it to go. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, if you've made it to Blackboard yet, and you may not, you probably have. How would you be here? If you've made it to Blackboard, as I'm sure you have, and you've looked at your syllabus pretty carefully, you probably know that there are 6 important things you can do to succeed in Psych 102. And I lifted this image directly from the syllabus. It is ever so slightly dated. There's one tiny mistake I don't like, but I wasn't able to change it easily. So I'm just going to march through with you, if you don't mind, very quickly. 6 important things that you can do to succeed in my particular version of Psych 102. But as I say that, I realize I need to silence my phone because it's beeping. So give me just a second. There we go. All right. What do you have to do in Psych 102? Again, you will see this exact version, an exact version or nearly exact version of this on your course syllabus. I hope I'll correct the one typo that I see here, but other than that, it'll be just like this. In every section of Psych 102 that I'm teaching, and I'm teaching 5 right now, by the way, at Montgomery College. I also teach it at other schools occasionally. There are 6 things you need to do in all 5 of my sections that just don't change. So first of all, you're going to see when you get into Blackboard and you take a look at your syllabus that you need to do the posted readings that correspond to every week of the course. So every week of the course, we have 15 of them right now, has a different set of readings. It's typically 1 or 2 or 3 short modules, but for the early part of the course, it's often one lengthier chapter. So what I've done to make your readings absolutely free to you is I've sampled things from 3 different textbooks. And on all those textbooks, I'm either the sole author or the first author. So I can get away with that, especially because some of these things are older drafts of textbooks that aren't even published yet. So I'm going to share with you modules or chapters that correspond to our topics. Those are absolutely free to you. But of course, I hope it's obvious to you that you can't share those with others. They're just for your purposes for this class because those textbooks do exist. One of them's not out yet. It's about to come out in November. But I'm, at this point, still able to provide you with a set of readings that are free. That's the first thing. The second thing you're going to want to do, and every week this happens once or twice, some weeks more than others, is you're going to go to our course YouTube page and watch me give a lecture on the topics that are posted for a given week before you Zoom into class for that week. So we're not going to do what a lot of professors do, which is to use the Zoom sessions to give a lecture. I've just found that Zoom is not great for that. Zoom's not that reliable. It often glitches. And I would much rather get a relatively high quality version of a video like this one up on YouTube and have you watch it there. And then we can use the Zoom time to talk about the readings, to talk about the lectures, to make it like a flipped classroom. It's a quasi-flipped classroom. And in my experience teaching the course in the spring, and again twice this summer at 2 different schools, that seemed to work pretty well. Speaking of Zooming, you will want to show up. That's your third thing. Whoops, let's back that up. Your third thing is to show up for every Zoomed flipped classroom that we have, having already done all or most of your readings and having already watched most, if not all, of the lectures that correspond to what's happening that week. Now, I recognize people can't always do that, but the ideal situation, if you're in a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, is to show up that first Monday having done all your homework for that week. If you're in a Tuesday, Thursday class, on that Tuesday, show up having done all or most of the readings and having watched all or most of the video lectures if there are any for that particular week. So the Zoom session is usually a group discussion, group activity, or simply a time that we all come together and talk about things that aren't so clear or ask questions. So for example, to ask for additional examples of what we're doing. That's the third thing. Fourth, you're going to want to take all the practice quizzes. Now on this page here, I said there are 15 of them, but since I wrote this, I've made a couple more. I think there's 17 of them now. Most weeks have one practice quiz. Some weeks have as many as two, never more than that. I think there's one week when there aren't any, lucky you. But typically there's about a practice quiz every week, and that is also a portion of your grade. And if you've read ahead enough to have looked at the syllabus, you know that those practice quizzes are open note quizzes, and I hope you'll do pretty well on them. My main goal in giving those is to make sure people stay engaged in the class and don't fall behind. And over the summer, again, I found those are a pretty successful way to keep people up at the reading, to keep people up at the lecture. Most of them focused on the book, which is more technical and denser than the lectures, but some of them focused on the lectures, and some of them focus on both book and lecture. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5, probably the most important in terms of just how much of the course it is. We will have 4 regular exams, one about every 3 or 4 weeks. One's coming up in less than a month. And if you study for those regular exams using active learning techniques, having taken the practice quizzes, having taken careful notes on the lectures, having done the readings, I hope you'll do well on all of them. And then finally, number 6, it should say 6th, but it just says 6. That's my mistake there. Write a good research paper and submit it early if you possibly can. If you're able to submit it early, I will probably be able to give you a preliminary grade and some feedback that you could use to revise your paper and write a better paper. Some of you may do so well in the course in the first 4, 5, 6 things that we do that you decide you don't need to write the paper. That's okay too. But many of you will write the paper, and if you do, I recommend that you do it early and see how well you can do and get feedback. And if you do really well on your paper, for example, you might be able to skip the 4th exam. So that's 6 steps about the course. Now, what I've also done for you that I've not done before is I've given you a detailed list here. You'll also see this in the syllabus. I guess we have 6 columns here. I used to have 3 or 4 of these. 6 columns that tell you week by week by week what's happening. So unless you're in a late start course, which some of you are, if you're in a regular early start course, we'll start the week of Monday, August 31st. Maybe for you that's Monday, maybe Tuesday. We'll talk about ways of knowing. There are 2 videotape lectures that I've already placed on YouTube that cover that material. And I've also provided for you for week 1, you will notice something called Intro Psych Module 2 and Evo Psych Chapter 1 that tells you exactly which readings, which I've already posted in Blackboard, I will have by the time you get this message. Those tell you exactly which 2 things to read for week 1. And then finally in that right-hand column, I hope you can still see it there underneath my image. For the very first week, it's a busy week. There are 2 practice quizzes, one practice quiz for the Intro Psych Module 2 readings and the lecture, and one for the Evolutionary Psychology chapter reading. So every week we have a reading or 2. Some of them are very brief, by the way, others are a bit longer. And then every week you have lecture, every week we Zoom in together. So that gives you, I hope, a pretty clear way of understanding exactly what we do every week. And if we could work our way down this list here, you would see that in your syllabus, it goes all the way to week 15, week by week by week by week. So that's one way to introduce you to the course. I'm also going to very quickly, on the next slide here, I'm going to do the same thing a slightly different way because this is important enough that I want to go over it again and sort of review it. And I'll cover a couple things here I did not cover before. But let's go over the course in a nutshell in a different way. A different thing I'll tell you here is that the course is mostly synchronous. We will have regular Zoom meetings that begin exactly whenever a class begins. So for some of you, that's Thursday at 6:30 p.m. For others of you, that's Monday at 9 a.m. I hope it's not 2 a.m. for anybody, but if that's when your class starts, that's when we Zoom. These Zoom classes, which are synchronous, they happen when class happens, they're not regular lectures. I'm not going to show you PowerPoints. I might occasionally show you images. I might occasionally ask you questions. They are mostly Q&A sessions to help you discuss with me and with your classmates exactly what we're covering that week. I did that this summer, and it seemed to have gone very well. Now, we'll have the weekly Zoom meetings at least twice a week. So if you're in a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, we'll typically do that Monday and Wednesday. Monday and Friday. Wednesday will often be a reading day or a video watching day to watch the lecture. But if you're only in my class 1 day a week, obviously we're just going to do that 1 day a week. So typically it's twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday, for example, twice a week. But if you're in my Thursday only section or my Monday only section, that unfortunately will just be once a week. If you're in that situation, you're going to have to work extra hard to be sure you stay up on the material and get your questions ready for the one time every week that we meet. Okay, as I already said, all the lectures will be posted on my YouTube page as YouTube videos, I hope in pretty high quality. I actually had a couple I made this summer that have some quality problems. I'll be working on that, updating them. Occasionally the YouTube videos get taken down because there's an accidental commercial that got stuck in them. If that happens, I'll replace them very quickly. All of your readings, I forget if I said this already, but all your readings are absolutely free. I told you that I wrote them. I may not have said that they're free to you, and I've posted them already in Module 1 as ordered PDFs. So documents are already on your Blackboard page that give you everything you need to read, listed in order for this particular course. Okay? I'm repeating myself here, I get that, but it's very important that you make a pretty good effort every week to do all of the readings and view all the lecture material for that week by the beginning of the week. If you have a major chemistry exam on Monday, which will happen occasionally, and you didn't quite finish these readings, it's not going to kill you, but you will get the most out of every Zoom class if you've done most, if not all, of the readings prior to that Zoom class. Okay, there will be 4 major exams. Each exam covers about a quarter of the course. I've chopped the course up into modules for them. And I probably said 15 practice quizzes on the previous page, but I think we're up to 17 practice quizzes now. I've had sections where I've had as many as 20, but for this fall, I wintered that down a little bit from the 20 that I gave this summer. So I believe you have 17 practice quizzes, 1 or 2 per week. Those are online quizzes you'll take at SurveyMonkey, and there's a complete list of them in a handout sheet on our course Blackboard webpage. So you should have no difficulty finding them. When I've made those this summer, I've made them 1 day at a time. They were all brand new. I just finished making them now because I taught summer session 2. They're ready. I will have to edit some of them and tweak some of them, but basically they're all ready and you can find them from that handout that's on our Blackboard Module 1 course page. The very last page of your syllabus is a roadmap to the entire class. I showed you a snippet of that on the previous slide. I cannot emphasize enough how much the syllabus is your friend, how much information is packed into it. And of course, if you see a mistake, that was my computer, not my phone, by the way, probably means I had an email that came in. If you see a mistake on the syllabus, and it's possible you will, because I have 6 of them, I'm teaching general psychology in 5 different schedules. So I'll be delighted if I never had a mistake with the CRN or the exact date of an exam. But if you see a mistake on the syllabus, especially if it's something like an exam date, please let me know, and I'll correct that online ASAP. But your syllabus is your roadmap to the entire class. I also just want to mention briefly before I let you go that my 4 exams are pretty hard. They've gotten easier in the time of COVID because I just made them open note for the first time this summer. That did make them a little bit easier, but they're still pretty difficult. And they're pretty difficult because I ask the questions typically at a pretty high level. And at least some of the questions require you not just to report back what a definition is, but to think deeply about it and apply it, let's say, to a real life situation. So my exams are pretty hard. And for that reason, at least in the time of COVID, I'm making them open note. That could change in the future if I have a big problem. But so far, that's what we're doing. But even when they're open note, that only helps a little bit. And it's because I know that I drop your not your lowest score, but your two lowest scores out of 7 in the course, and I grade you in 3 other ways that are not regular exams. There's the set of about 17 quizzes. There's the research paper I briefly mentioned. You can read more about it in your syllabus. And there's the class participation grade, which is by far the easiest way to get a very high A in the course. If you zoom into practically every class and you pay attention and you ask the occasional question, doesn't have to be a great question, just a thoughtful question. Please give me another example of that. You're going to get an A, a high A in class participation. So I encourage you, I very strongly encourage you to take advantage of that one way to get a very good grade. That will be 1/5, 20% of your grade in the course. Okay, so I hope that that's good news. I think I already said this out loud. I certainly thought it. Blackboard is your best friend. I just added that a minute ago, right before I started here. It should say your best friend, not you best friend. But Blackboard is your best friend in the class. Please check the Blackboard page regularly. Please look for things there. Please look for regular emails from me if some snag happens. And know that Blackboard is basically an outline of every single thing you need day by day, week by week in this course. I think that's it. I hope that your experience in this class is a great one. Sometimes I say good luck, but I'm not going to say it this time because I think in a course like this one, I hope in a course like this one, you can make your luck by working hard, paying attention. Let me know if you have a problem. If we know one thing about COVID is that things constantly change and that it creates trouble for people. I hope I'll be a resource person for you for that in this course. And I hope that you'll have a great experience with me as we learn together about what I like to call not just psychology, but psychological science, the science of how we understand how people think, feel, and behave. Thank you.